I'm trying to fix the window on YouTube so that it's the full window. I'm so sorry. You guys are like, wow, this is so boring. Why did I come here today? All right, you guys, I'm going to share out the live to a few of my biblical friends and see if we can't get some of them to come in here and talk Bible with us this morning. And again, if you're friendly, come up here and join me this morning so we can study the Bible together. I don't want to be alone. So also, we need to get, I know there's only 5 of you in here right now, but if you guys can get me to 1,000 1,000 likes and 100 shares, that would be awesome. Let's see if you're around or you're around or you. Definitely you. Definitely you. Definitely you. Boom. See if we can't get some people in here. I don't know you, Tom, but I could meet you. Hey, Tom, can I get your age real quick?
37.
Okay, and are you a Christian?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Did you come up to join me for Bible study today?
Yes.
All right, awesome. Usually I know the people who come up here and I'm like, okay, I'll bring Tom up. I don't know him, but I'll get to know him.
And you have a follow.
Awesome.
Where to begin? So I grew up in Ireland. So I grew up in a very Catholic country. I probably renounced religion when I was about 16, 17, when I started asking questions about other religions and was told that's not right. And then I started looking into history a lot more and realizing Christianity has taken a lot of other festivals from, I'm going to say pagan religions, because they were religions. People believed in the sun, the moon, the earth. My favorite is the story of Eden. Someone said Genesis 1:1 there.
Yeah,
So
they did.
Eden, or Edon in Norse mythology, is the garden where trees with apples grew, and the gods would come and eat them and live 1,000 years. That's how they kept their immortality. Loki killed unalived Edon and kept the key to the garden to himself, which caused Ragnarok, all the gods to unalive. And if we look at Genesis 1:1, Adam's punishment, because he ate the apple, was to live 1,000 years. So even just that little segment, how Christianity has taken a lot of religions from across Europe and decided to make them their own. We look at Saturnalia, which has become Christmas. It used to be a Roman festival of gift giving for a week at the end of the year, where servants would become masters, masters would become servants. We also can look at Easter, which falls on the first Sunday after the first full moon, after the spring equinox, which does sound a little pagan for some reason.
Wait. I have to correct you because I thought that Easter fell exactly 13 Sundays after Christmas.
No, so Easter falls on
Let me look that up. Hang on.
Yeah, sure.
Because that's what we were told. So I'm not questioning. Like, I'm questioning because every time I find out, like, I want to know, did they lie to me, or what was the deal?
You are the perfect example of be curious, not judgmental.
Easter is calculated, oh, you're right, based on the first full moon following the vernal equinox, which marks the start of spring in the northern hemisphere. It is then observed on the following Sunday. While the actual date of the vernal equinox can vary, the church uses a fixed date of March 21st to simplify the calculation, known as the ecclesiastical equinox.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Tiny, if you want to come up and join us, we're going to be in Exodus 31 today. We're just reading through the Bible, but we're not adding any of the dogma or doctrine when we read it.
So when we look at like other religions outside of Christianity, it's crazy to see how many ones that came beforehand are celebrated through Christianity now, just with a different branding.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, okay, as a Christian, like you are so sheltered, and I like to tell people about what it was like for me so they can understand, because if you know me, and you'll get to know me, Tom, I'm not a stupid woman. So when you go, this woman lived 40 years of her life believing all this bullshit, and she's not stupid, so what about it? You know what I mean? Made her like fall, but you get indoctrinated into it,
Yeah, but
and that's how they do it.
People need faith to help them get through some tough times, and I'm not discrediting that. What I dislike is, as you say, the indoctrination of bringing like young children in. For instance, like I didn't teach my daughter she's 7. I didn't teach her any religion, not a thing.
That's good.
And if she wants to find religion later in life, that is completely her choice, and she can find any one she wants, be it Buddhism, Muslim, whatever she needs to help her get through her own life. So I don't look down upon people who do have faith. I do like to point people in the right direction of where certain things do come from. While you have your iPad in front of you, if you look up a place called Newgrange, it's a place in Ireland. It's one of the most beautiful places you'll ever see, because the significance in it is awesome. So it is older than the Pyramid of Giza. It is older than Stonehenge.
Wow.
And it has, markings all over it. Yeah, it has markings all over it that are from Neolithic periods. And there's other versions of that dotted around, but that one's significant because the 3 people buried in there had the same DNA as some of the pharaohs of Egypt. And on the 21st of December, the little box opening above that door, the sun rises. The sun rises in the east, right in front of it. And the sunlight goes all the way down to the end of the chamber for 17 minutes. Wow. And it's the only time of the year. So the engineers that obviously built it worship the sun. So again, there are plenty of evidence that there was other religions around before obviously Christianity came along, and labeling people as barbarian or pagan or whatever else.
That's what I was going to say. Was the other things that, like, you are so sheltered as a Christian that you are told not to look at anything else, not to read anything else, not to educate yourself on other things, because those things can be demonic, or they can pull you away, and they can weaken your faith. And so don't do it. So because of this, I never knew about the Epic of Gilgamesh. I did not know that Yahweh was a part of a pantheon and was a Canaanite war god. I didn't know about Ashura. I didn't know about so many things. And so that's why we do the Non-Believers Bible Study. That's why we're going through chapter by chapter. We're reading it for what it says. But we also do ask questions, and we look them up. A lot of times I have very good friends who are rabbis come and join us up here. Dagda just came in. Dagda, hopefully you'll be able to come up today. And we look at it for its historicity. We look at what the actual Hebrew says. And
that's great.
that's what we're doing. So we're going to
Okay.
go ahead and get started, y'all, on chapter 31. I'm reading from the NRSV, the NRSV, not the updated edition, though. I do not have the updated edition. But we can look things up. Also, I just got a flash goal, so if you guys would help me get 8 heart me's. If you already gave me one, you won't be able to do it, but if you haven't, please send me a heart me, and let's knock out this flash goal real quick. Okay. Chapter 31, verse 1. The Lord spoke to Moses, "See, I have called by name Bezalel, son of Uri, son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, and I have filled him with divine spirit, with ability, intelligence, and knowledge in every kind of craft, to devise artistic designs, to work in gold, silver, and bronze, in cutting stones for setting, and in carving wood, in every kind of craft. Moreover, I have appointed with him Oholiab, son of Ahisamach." I hate these names. "Of the tribe of Dan, and I have given skill to the skillful, so that they may make all that I have commanded you: the tent of meeting, and the ark of the covenant, and the mercy seat that is on it, and all the furnishings of the tent, the table and its utensils, and the pure lampstand with all its utensils, and the altar of incense, and the altar of burnt offerings with all its utensils, and the basin with its stand, and the finely worked vestments, the holy vestments for the priest Aaron, and the vestments of his sons for their service as priests, and the anointing oil and the fragrant incense for the holy place. They shall do just as I've commanded you." Okay, any questions or commentary on that paragraph? How are you today, Dagda?
Surviving. Got my day off today, so I figured I'd join.
Oh, I'm so glad you got to join us today. To me, when Dagda, you know me now, I just see God as just some bougie narcissist who's like, yeah, and I need to have the finest gold, and I need, like, what kind of a God needs any of these human things? It's just so ridiculous. All right. Moving on, verse 12. This is the Sabbath law. The Lord said to Moses, "You yourself are to speak to the Israelites. You shall keep my Sabbaths, for this is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, given in order that you may know that I, the Lord, sanctify you. You shall keep the Sabbath, because it is holy for you. Everyone who profanes it shall be put to death. Whoever does not work on it shall be cut off from among the people. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of solemn rest, holy to the Lord. Who does any work on the Sabbath day shall be put to death. Therefore the Israelites shall keep the Sabbath, observing the Sabbath throughout the generations as a perpetual covenant. It is a sign forever between me and the people of Israel, that in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day he rested and was refreshed." I do not know how an all-powerful God needs rest. I don't get that. I also don't know how any Christian can work on the Sabbath and think that that's okay. And also how any Christian thinks Sunday is the Sabbath is beyond me.
They don't work in the service industry.
According to God, you weren't allowed to work at all.
That's what I'm saying. They don't realize the service industry, you have to work.
Oh, I see what you're saying, but no, they all work. Like they literally work on Sunday. Like, you shouldn't be having church on Sunday because you're making your pastor work on Sunday. If Sunday is your Sabbath, which it shouldn't
But
be.
I see what your point is. But isn't your pastor or your priest meant to be the next person to God? So therefore, he is
Right.
the voice of passing that message.
But in the rabbinical tradition, rabbis didn't work on the Sabbath.
No, I get that. Yeah,
So a pastor shouldn't be either. Like everybody is supposed to be resting, you know? So if you're all going to church, one, that's not resting, you know? If you're
it is
preparing
resting
for
if you have a boring priest.
Yeah, I guess if you're sleeping in the pew, it is resting. Huh?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be staying home and watching football, you guys. Tell your pastor that the reason you don't go is because it's the Sabbath.
But even then, the football players are working.
Yeah, they're just heathens, though, you know.
I've got to dip because I've got a class in like 2 minutes.
Okay, Tom. Thanks for
I'll
coming up.
be
Nice
back.
meeting you. All
You
right,
too,
you
bye.
guys, everybody follow Tom. I'm going to drop you a follow. And yeah, everybody give him a follow. All right. Dad, anything from you on the Sabbath?
No, I think you pretty much said it. I was going to bring up, it's kind of odd how priests and like clergy members all work on the Sabbath when they're strictly told not to. And they, they stoned that guy or whatever, they offed him.
Yeah.
And like, what about those guys that were working on that day there? Like, they all turn a blind eye to themselves, but everyone else, they're always expecting something.
Absolutely. Hey, AK's here. Maybe she can come up and hang out with us. You guys, I have a flash goal right now of the heart me's. If you haven't sent me a heart me, and you can really quick because you've got a coin, please do so. It's intellectually disingenuous to conclude these things when you won't study the original meaning. I do study the original meaning. What are you talking about?
That's kind
First
of
of all, I'm reading from the NRSV, which is one of the closest translations to the original meaning. But if we have any questions along the way, we literally stop and read the Hebrew. So you've been here 3 minutes and you're judging me, and you don't even know what you're talking about. Good job.
And judge not unless ye be judged themselves.
Exactly. AK, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I'm just
So,
fishing season in Alaska, and my dad and his friend went down to the fish wheel on the Copper River, and so brought us some fish. My mom brought me some fish, and I'm clearing out fish that I have from last year. So I'm thawing salmon for salmon salad and smoked salmon.
nice. I love that. I invited Deborah up. I don't know if she's working, but maybe she can sit up here at least or something, you know. She might be on her lunch break or something. Okay, we are in chapter 31 in verse 18 now of Exodus.
Ah, yes.
I'm going to give you a second to get there.
Hold on, I gotta find my Oxford annotated from 1962.
Okay, Deborah. Come sit if you want, and then you don't have to speak.
Exodus 38.
No, 31.
Oh,
Verse 18. We're almost done with it.
okay. Are you wanting me
Okay,
to?
ready?
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I just wanted to make sure you were there. All right. When God finished speaking with Moses on Mount Sinai, he gave him the 2 tablets of the covenant, tablets of stone, written with the finger of God. Okay, so just so you guys get a real quick rundown, God talks about how the guys who made everything were like the best people ever to make everything, best craftsmen ever, blah, blah, blah. Then they talk about the Sabbath law. And we were discussing how, we don't get how Christians celebrate the Sabbath on the wrong day. We don't get how Christians are okay with going to church on what they think is the Sabbath, because going to church in and of itself would be considered work. Making the pastor preach is literally making him work. And then the way they go home and make like Sunday barbecue and stuff, that all would have been considered work. And so they're totally cool with breaking the Sabbath. And and let's see. Also, why God needs a day of rest. Why would an all-powerful, all-knowing, all-loving God need a day of rest? I don't know. I don't get it. Hi, Castle. How are you? So we talked about that, and now it appears we're about to get the two very famous tablets. Hey, Forrest, come on up if you are free. We're doing Bible study, and we are right now in Exodus 32. You guys, thank you for being here. If you can keep tapping the screen. I do not get pushed out on the FYP until I have 5,000 likes and 100 shares. So until those two things are met, I never get pushed out. But once we do that, I'll start getting pushed out. And if you guys can help me do that, I'd appreciate it. And the weird thing is they don't show you the shares anymore as the creator. So I can't even like tell people like, oh, hey, we need 10 more shares or anything. I can't see them anymore.
Just for the record, your shares are going to be like weird too from creator to the person who's watching, because if I send 3 different shares of 15, or let's say 4 different shares of 15 people, it'll say 4 down at the bottom corner. But if I do 60 individual shares, it'll show up as 60.
Yeah, it is weird. I hate that. Alrighty. Okay, we are on to the golden calf. Thank you. Gold, come on up if you can. When the people saw that Moses delayed to come down from the mountain, the people gathered around Aaron and said to him, "Come, make gods for us, who shall go before us. As for this Moses, the man who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him." Aaron said to them, "Take off the gold rings that are on the ears of your wives, your sons, and your daughters, and bring them to me." So all the people took off all the gold rings from their ears and brought them to Aaron. He took the gold from them, formed it in a mold, and cast an image of a calf. He took the gold from them, formed it in a mold, and cast an image of a calf, and they said, "These are our gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt." When Aaron saw this, he built an altar before it, and Aaron made proclamation and said, "Tomorrow shall be a festival to the Lord." They rose early and the next day and offered burnt offerings and brought sacrifices of well-being, and the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to rebel. All I had to say is Aaron is not very loyal. Like, it took a whole 2 seconds for him to say, "Give me some stuff, I'll make you something to worship," okay? Like, he was kind of a weak prophet, right? G, come on up and join us for Bible study.
What
Hey,
book?
Joyful. We are in Exodus chapter 32, the first paragraph.
Okay, cool.
So, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Like, how quick they were to, like, melt down their gold and replace Yahweh. He must have been, like, a really shitty God for them.
I'm definitely tapping, sharing, and then
Thank
Crystal.
you.
Crystal, do you think you're? I don't even know if you can say this word, but shadow banana.
I do. I'm going to have to talk to my agency about it because, but once I see how I'm getting pushed out more. For some reason, I literally have to have 5,000 likes and 100 shares. And once I get those, they start pushing me out. But before that, I cannot get it pushed at all.
Okay, well, I'm one of the fastest.
Yeah, I agree, G. It does seem like they never wanted to. It was like, gone for just a day or two. They're like, okay, you gotta need more than God way. Let's just make something new.
Because he doesn't understand
Aaron was like,
consent. This God does not understand consent.
the Israelites didn't want him from day one. They were like, we don't really want him. The Lord said to Moses, and hey, Pinkbeard, if you want to come up, come on up. quick to turn aside from the way that I commanded them. They have cast for themselves to it and said, these are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt. The Lord said to Moses, I have let me alone so that I may wrath so that my wrath may burn hot against them, and I make a nation. What a loving God. Like, because as a mother, I have said things burn against my children so that I can consume them. You know what? He's he's so dramatic. I was a little late today. I'm not gonna lie, you guys. I have started. I know that many of you know I'm slow. I'll get faster one day. But yeah, I talk to myself.
I always find it amusing how it's this stiff
The consent thing?
I think you guys have a little lag or something. What were you saying? And gee, you're one of my inspirations. You're one of the reasons I've been doing my makeup. You and
could get forced to see what he was saying.
Okay, Forrest, what were you saying?
I was just gonna say I'm getting lunch. Sorry, so my wife, like, they didn't actually want this God, and that somebody else said that Yahweh doesn't understand consent. So my point was actually that if you ask the moral, that you should be able to find in the Bible, and you convince them that the consent is in there, or consent is
Right.
like nowhere.
It is not in the Bible. I think I talked about this the other day, that when Christians come, when they're talking about objective morality, he'll say, okay, so let's do a little thought process, morally good to ask for consent and not grape a person. Okay, great. Now, can you show me in the Bible where that says that? Or
And the
shows
answer is no.
for real? He does not care about consent. And obviously, I think this year we're like, we will worship a literal cow before we will continue to worship this useless God. Okay. But Moses implored the Lord his God and said, "O Lord, why does your wrath burn hot against your people whom you brought? Why should the Egyptians say it was with evil intent that he brought them out to kill them in the mountain? From your fierce wrath, change your mind and do not bring disaster on your people. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, your servants. Multiply your descendants like the stars of heaven, and all this land that I have promised I will give to your descendants, and they shall inherit it to bring on this people." So I want to bring up something I keep forgetting to say. So I don't remember, but I believe that there is at least some path was actually to them something they could worship of Yahweh. Was their mouthpiece, right, to Yahweh. So they weren't actually worshiping a different God. Pissed at them because they missed him. It was like they wanted to smell their boyfriend's sweatshirt, to make them remember him, and he was still this pissed at him. And then here again is a God that is just ready to, because of his jealousy, that he supposedly, that love is not jealous, that he's all loving. It's just God who can't remember things, a God who forgets, and he has to remind him again his mind, even though he is not a man who would change his mind. This paragraph, any thoughts? All right, I'm going to move on to this, and that was verses 11 through 14, and now we're moving on to verse 15. Of the covenant in his hands. Tablets that were written on both sides, written on the front and on the back. The tablets were the work of God. Tablets. When Joshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said to Moses, "There is a noise of war in the camp, but you are losers. It is the sound of revelers that I hear." Any comments or commentary?
Theme song going on in his dome.
It does. It really does. The calf and the dance and the dancing. Moses' anger burned hot, and he threw the tablets from his hands, and he burned it with fire, ground it to powder, scattered it on the water, and made the Israelites drink it. Parts of the Bible. He's just like, Moses is so damn petty, he makes them drink it. You can get metal poisoning, right?
Well, yeah, it's a heavy metal, so it goes straight into your skull.
Rab, I'm sorry I still call you Rabbi Bert. Does that bother you? Should I stop calling you that?
No, you're perfectly respectful. I think the only reason I changed it was because, when I guess things haven't really gotten better, but I gotta really buckle down the hatches. So. Anywho, how y'all doing?
I just want to be respectful.
Yeah.
You can answer a question for me. We are in Exodus 32. This is where the golden calf appears.
Nice.
And that I don't know if it's scholars or if there was midrash, but there was some talk that the golden calf wasn't something that we can worship Yahweh because Moses, our mouthpiece, the one who we usually talk to, to get to.
There's so much in the text. It says that Moses was gone, and they said, they went to Aaron and said, give us something we can work with. My favorite part is when Aaron lies to Moses and says, "It just jumped out of the fire. I don't know."
So what we thought when we were Christians. This is a totally different God. Like, they wanted Aaron to make for them a whole new God and a different God.
I think that's accurate. I think that would be accurate.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I've heard it told both ways now, and I'm the least loyal prophet ever. Like, he's like, all right, come on, give me some stuff. I'll make you something. I can whip.
Midrash does say is that, like, to kind of like explain away Aaron's, he was just trying to buy time. Like, he's like, come back in 3 days. You're gonna have a festival for 3 days till Moses can come back.
Okay, that makes a little more sense, because he just seemed. Let's see what I can do.
Aaron prefers the false piece.
Okay, now we just finished reading about grinds up the golden calf and then makes them drink it.
It's a ritual which many who are AB advocates, or at least pro-choice advocates, will access, at least. Obviously, it's not a great text, but I think, like, from the Jewish perspective, we understand that I think so. Anyway, all to say that this parallels the Sota ritual.
What's the Sota ritual?
Where a husband can take her to drink this ash mixture that will.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And
in other words, the people are committing adultery by praying to this other god, and so are synonymous in the Bible, pretty much.
that's what they sound alike too. No, I'm just kidding. I'm so glad I asked you about that. I'm really glad. By the way, I was saying earlier that this is one of Joel Reed's Bible's pages. He thinks that's funny, but he might not know about the Sota ritual. So
I'm sure that everybody saw that thing with Deathless, right? The gram forum, and it looked like some man.
Oh, you mean when Mezzo does that?
He has a very distinct voice, but you have.
Oh, I know who you're talking about now. Yes.
Have you seen that clip? Incredibly humorous thing that Mazzo's ever done, and the bar is pretty high.
Mezzo is hilarious. Okay, we're in verse 21 of chapter 32 of Exodus, if you're just joining us right now. By the way, really quick, as quickly as possible, please. Also, I have a gift goal. It's the little awesome kitties. They're only 1 coin each. Love to get to 666. It just helps us so that I can get things for me to be able to stream, be able to upgrade things. Like, I really eventually streamed out to YouTube as quickly as possible. So that's what I do. I just save up those little gifts. I also gift out a lot of them back to the other streamers' channel. I bring you non-believers Bible study, conversations with Christians, and Decon Q&A with CrystalJae. So, coffee a month, and you're subscribed to Netflix, Hulu, and Corn Hub. And corn is free on the internet. So cancel some of those, even though I can't say the word subscribe. Just do it anyway. Also, support my amazing panel. This is a killer panel. Rabbi, we have Dagda, we have Boris, we have Deborah, the author of Crucifying the Bible. Okay, moving right along. Moses said, "So great a sin upon them." And Aaron said, "Do not let the anger of my Lord burn hot. You know the people that they are bent on. As for this Moses, the man who brought us up out of the land of Egypt," I'm sorry, I can't talk. "We do. Whoever has gold, take it off." So they gave it to me, and I threw it into the fire, and out came this calf.
It wasn't me, I swear.
I swear, Mom, I didn't do it.
Just wanted to say
Questions or
really quick.
commentary?
Yeah, only that like Aaron is like the rabbis will say that the value of Aaron is that he also think like, you know, things that we are dealing with in modern times, and I think Dr. King commented on it, that a false peace is not actually there is a pursuit of peace that is just to kind of tamp things down instead of actually dealing with the things. And I'm not saying that this is a you know, and rejects anything else, then it's not actually the pursuit of peace. That's all I wanted to say.
That's true. That's true. Aaron, what did this people do to you that you have brought so great a sin upon them? And Aaron said, "Do not let the anger of on evil." They said to me, "Make us gods. Who shall go before us?" As for this Moses, the man who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, so they gave it to me, and I threw it into the fire, and out came this calf. All right. Aaron had let them run wild to the derision of their enemies. I don't know what enemies. Then Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, "Who is on the Lord's side? Come to me." And all the sons of Levi gave, "Put your sword on your side, each of you. Go back and forth from gate to gate throughout the camp, and each of you kill your." Moses commanded, and about 3,000 of the people fell on that day. Moses said, "Today you have ordained yourselves for the service of our brother, and so have brought a blessing on yourselves this day." That's horrible.
Why God not to do it, so that Moses did it himself. Moses is like,
Sorry. I'm sorry.
well, you know, I mean, if you put yourself in their shoes, like Moses is, look, I saved your asses from this. You know, I'm not trying to justify. I'm just saying that that's what I think what Moses' mentality, for worse, not for better. I was going to say for better or for worse, but it's just for worse.
Unalive that day,
3,000.
3,000 Bible stories like that. why, if God didn't do it, why did you have to do it? Then what was the point of even asking him not to do it if you're going to do it? Like, it's such a stupid, pointless story that does not...
Big problem. In the sense that it's either 3,000 or everybody.
But it didn't have to be get angry because you're supposedly this God that doesn't get angry, but you get angry all the time. But I'm supposed to believe that you're never angry.
Like God of mercy. Isn't that just a couple paragraphs ago?
This Yahweh character. I don't know about him. Okay. Verse 30. You know, it's kind of funny. Wait, I have to say something. There was a day that I would never have said such a and unalive me immediately for saying such a thing. And now I picture him so weak and tiny.
Blow me? Just kidding.
This is a Bible study.
Well played, good sir. Well played, good sir.
Okay. On the next day, Moses said to the people, "Perhaps I can make atonement for your sin." So Moses returned to the Lord and said, "Alas, this people has sinned. If you will only forgive their sin, but if not, blot me out of the book that you have written." But the Lord said to Moses, "Whoever go lead the people to the place about which I have spoken to you. See, my angel shall go in front of you." Never the Lord sent a plague to the people because they made the calf, the one that Aaron made. So then God still sends a plague to them. And also, I have a question. So, you, as, and there's not like the heaven and the hell that Christians think. Am I correct in saying that?
Would you mind putting me down, Miss Crystal?
Not at all. Forrest, thank you for coming up and come join me anytime, okay? You guys watch the debate. He's so good. He's often on Fluff Skidoo's live on the panel too, so make sure you go check out.
I don't want to try to take over, but I just have to say, Deborah and I had one of the funniest lives I've ever had in my entire life, and she posted a couple. They're so funny. You have to watch them to the end because it's wild.
Okay, I will. Thank you. Okay, well, I know about that. Oh, okay.
What was the question? Sorry, I just did a ceremony for indigent souls, and my problem is now we're leaving, and like people aren't leaving, and so everybody's blocked in, so I had to go speak to the people to like move their.
Oh, I appreciate you being here. So, am I correct in saying or thinking that you do not think of heaven and hell the way Christians do?
That is accurate.
Okay, so when God says 32, I'm going to read it, and says, "But now if you will only forgive their sin, but if you have written, but now go lead the people to the place about which I have spoken to you. Anyway, in a Christian's point of view, that means you're going to hell. What do Jewish people believe about this verse?
Be remembered. And so the idea is that memory is I think at the core of and so if you're blotting out the name of somebody, the idea is that they will not.
And so it's
that
like
helps you at all.
so the book that they're speaking of would kind of be like God's book, or
Yeah, the book of life. Yeah, I mean that's. But I think you'd have to. I mean, if you're interested, it would be the Jewish perspective is explained. Yeah, it's
okay.
like yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, I'm happy to speak on the Jewish perspective. It's not necessarily
Simply means who's getting into heaven.
Oh, yeah, I would say the book of life is more like who will be remembered. Like literally Rosh Hashanah is Yom HaZikaron, the day of remembrance. And so it's the day and it's like the day that you are going to be remembered. I don't know.
Why does God need a book? That's their question.
Well, I think you have to ask, like, actually the etymology is the original need to write something down. It's for accounting, and you write something down to keep track of it. Mouths to feed, so on, a census, right? And so in Hebrew, the word book is a sefer, but
Oh, you cut out. You have red bar, so hang on. Hopefully you can hear me because we can't hear you. Those are the same word but backwards. Sefer and mispar.
Can you hear me now?
You said, yeah, I can hear you. So we lost you after you.
Yeah, that they're the same. They have the same root, and so the idea is that, like, try and get to a better place. Okay, great. So the idea is that a number and a book, like you like, it's an accounting. The idea is that writing, the outset of needing to write something is to account for something. And so consider it almost like a census.
If this kind of makes sense. So sometimes I keep a record of something, not because I'm afraid of them, my receipts. Is it more like that with God? He's not going to forget. He's taking this accounting to have record to show others.
Analogy then I think you might even realize, because the accounting itself is the receipt in modern Hebrew also.
Okay. All right. That makes a lot more sense to me. Thank you. I'm really glad I asked stops. AK, I know Deborah can't really talk, but if you did have questions, you guys know
I'm
to
on
chime
lunch
in.
now.
Okay.
Did I miss something
Anything?
about Mateo said that the point is about omniscience, and I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss something.
We got two rabbis. We have an echo now.
Hey, Rabbi Hannah, if you have anything to add. Chapter 33, the command to leave Sinai. The Lord said to him out of the land of Egypt, and go to the land of which I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying to your descendants, I will give it. The Canaanites, the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Go up to a land flowing with milk and consume you on the way, for you are a stiff-necked people. So one question we did have was, this is the second time necked people. Why that word?
Mostly because we're stubborn bastards. That's really it. So you're bowing your neck. So the idea of stiff neck is we're stubborn. We refuse to just like do what we're told. We we have to make the mistakes, and in making those mistakes, we kind of have to learn from our own, like.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, Rabbi. Just
Hold on. I think it's because how's that? Is that better?
That's much better. Much better.
Yeah, I had the wrong one. You have to picture when you're bowing to some sort of royalty, you're bowing your neck and beans than you do.
Okay, I gotcha. But again, with all this G side, he's going to get rid of all the Canaanites, Amorites, Hittites, he makes me sad. When the people heard these harsh words, they said to the Israelites, you are a stiff-necked people. If for a single moment I should go up among you, I would consume you. So now the Israelites stripped themselves of their ornaments from Mount Horeb onward. Okay, you guys, sometimes I listen to this back 2x speed to make little shorts for YouTube. Talking at 2x speed, it's starting to sound normal to me, and listening to myself talk at this slow pace. Now Moses used to take the tent and pitch it outside the camp. I don't know why I can't read. Not off from the camp, he called it the tent of meeting, and everyone who sought the Lord would go out to the tent of meeting. All the people would rise and stand, each of them, at the entrance of their tent and watch Moses until he had gone into the tent. When Moses at the entrance of the tent, and the Lord would speak with Moses. When all the people saw the pillar of clouds of all of them at the entrance of their tent. Thus the Lord used to speak to Moses face to face as one speaks to a friend. The son of none would not leave the tent. Okay, I was just picturing like what I try to picture what was the natural thing that was really occurring, that like when God appeared as smoke at the top of the mountain. What was it really going on? I couldn't picture something here. What cloud would be following a human being, and except going back and forth from the tent with this little cloud of dirt around him.
I thought that, like, I thought no one could see the face of God and live. And it just said that he spoke to God face to face.
There are places, of course, that you read that, like, Moses was shown God's ass because, you know, you can't see the entire glory of God. So there are, each book, of course, was not written. I'm trying to find out of an anthropomorphized human deity within the text. Abraham speaks directly to God because he's like, the face of God cannot be seen. We are moving into a time where, like, this is not necessarily the same, you know, it's an L versus the Yud Hey Vav Hey.
If I remember correctly, though.
Yep. And that has a lot to do with the read. Oh, please go ahead, Rabbi.
Well, just to say that, you know.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say too, Bert. It has a lot to do with the redactors.
Yeah, and I also in the original text anyway.
Or vowels.
Just to say that there are idioms also, like that, you know, if you're, like, if the goal is to express Moses related to God, I mean, I think there's ways to understand it that are less, that are more like poetic, I guess. But I
Darth Dawkins or anything, but his favorite word is idiom. I'm just saying. Wait, don't leave. I'm just teasing.
didn't hear what you said. I got a notification.
It's probably better that you didn't, Bert.
Yeah. I wasn't going to call you Darth Dawkins or anything, but his favorite word is idiom.
I've never even dealt with this guy.
Man. Did you out of
The gem.
Did you flip out of
No,
it?
I saw you set the invite, or the thing, and so I went in, and you had already been, and he was just like raging at the chat, going, "Oh, a bunch of high school, idiots in here," says, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, whatever." So you went off on dark.
I would say
yeah.
if we don't want to use the word idiom, the intimate relationship that is bestowed upon Moses versus relationships that other people have. I mean, if we look into Job, we see a lot, Job itself, these three sections of that kind of poetry we see written at the time. So you're reading through the book, and I don't mean you guys, I mean just in general, the ubiquitous you, because we see these spaces where this only gets to see the back of his ass. But then later on, we see Moses being able to talk to him face to face as long as they're in the tent case. Of course, you're like, that is confusing. And again, academically, the redactors just went and we were like, well, that looks good there. And
More macaroni pictures.
I think
macaroni
as
pictures.
Christians, we talk, like if you talk to a Christian and you're like, have you ever talked to God? Like, have you ever seen him or anything? They'll be like, no, they did.
Yeah.
I also
I think
wanted
it's
to
just.
offer.
Oh,
Sorry.
please go ahead, Bert.
Well, just to say that I wanted to offer that is is an analog for Mount Sinai. So essentially, it is the mountain people gathering around the base of the entrance of the tent of meeting. You have Moses walking up with the priests to the entrance, walking up to the first steps of the mountain. Then you have, going into the inner, the Holy of Holies thing. All of that lines up with as an analog. So, and this is also like the case that the architecture of synagogue.
All right.
And if you really want to blow your hair back, there are some Jews that suggest that when Moses is going into the Holy of Holies and into the tent of meeting to talk to God, that it's actually the Shekinah he's talking, the feminine aspect of God. That it's actually the Shekinah, because the Shekinah lives with us according to Jewish tradition between us and God. Like, she eventually will go back to be with Hashem once state that it's actually not Hashem, but the Shekinah who you're communing with, because she acts as the bridge between you and God.
Methodists don't believe in it. But in the Christian religion, especially, I want to say in the Pentecostal denomination,
God, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, yeah, I know, I grew up around, Pentecostals love to use Shekinah glory because they believe that it's like the crowning glory of God, and they don't realize that what than anything else is what they're suggesting is that there is the feminine aspect of sitting on God's face all the time. And so, like, means, like, what you're suggesting is, I mean, sure, like, there's, if you want to get esoteric with it, there are some traditional, didn't know that hit mainstream Christianity yet, but alright, cool. So both Bert and I come from, of course, also different perspectives, because, in my own team had the opportunity to learn, or at the dust of many teachers' feet, including a dear friend of mine, mentor, and that's how I met this rabbi, was through my mother, is Rabbi Jill Hammer. And so this is where I started really being in the tent of meeting, being in the Holy of Holies, because of being the bridge between us, and that like I mentioned earlier, that she was inviting to our Shabbat tables when we start to light the candles. We're inviting the Sabbath Queen, the Shekinah, to fill our home.
Forever change Shekinah glory for me, and I love
I mean, like, them do
Jeff, if you want to come
thing. I'm like, all right, cool. I don't know if you know what you're saying right now, but you're implying this, and good
yeah,
for you.
yeah. I hope everything's okay with your mom.
I just
Love
wanted
you.
to say that that's my interpretation, by the way, and at the Shemaim Taharet, that it's a chapter list. So Bereshit is the book of Bereshit, is the beginning, the creation of the people Israel, right? It's the book of Exodus. And Elohim is God as judge. The book of Elohim is heaven, and it's Shekinah is the dwelling of God on earth, is heaven on earth. And then Haaretz about going into the land.
Oh yeah, we get really esoteric as Jews. Like, we get out there. When people will say, or have you like gone in and like really gotten this the mystic understanding of these words, like, that's where gematria. Hey, what is the meaning of this word? She goes, well, which do you want? Do you want the gematria? Because the gematria would be like this and this, because it's this number and this number, and if you add that up, it becomes a lot of Jews, when they donate money, will do so in 18 increments, because the 1/8 is high. The word high, $18, because they're donating in the increment of life. My mom is.
That's
She,
cool.
like I often say, like, she can't remember what she did yesterday. But if I thing off, she will literally be, that's Exodus 32:3. And by the way, you can cross-reference that, because Josephus talks about this in his, the gematria on that is, and I'm just like, okay, Mom, thanks.
That's cool. Deborah, were you going to say something?
9 is wishes fulfilled in tarot. So, no, I'm just moving out of religion.
Okay, moving on. Chapter 33, verse. But you have not let me know whom you will send with me. Yet you have said, I know you by name, and you have also shown me your ways, so that I may know you and find favor in your sight. Consider too that this nation is your people. He said, my presence will not go. Do not carry us up from here. For how shall it be known that I have found favor in your sight? I distinct, I and your people, from every people on the face of the earth. All right, any questions or commentaries? I do like that, like, they just, many times they're saying in these chapters, the one who brought you out of Egypt. It just reminds me of such a guilt trip, you know? Like, so they would know, no, I was joking, but I would be like, remember me, I'm the one who gave birth to you? You know, it just reminds me of somebody.
With me once, she's like, I brought you into this life, and I'm like, yeah, and I didn't ask for it, so don't try with me.
Right. Exactly. I actually adopted, and he said something to me, and I was like, I didn't ask for you to take me in.
So I'm going to be here listening, but I had to get in trouble.
All right. Sounds good. All right. The Lord said to Moses, I will do the very thing that you have asked. Back on this. Let me see. It says in verse 12, it says, I know you by name, and who always say, oh, it's so important to take things in context and stuff, are the same Christians who would take that verse and 100% all day long. They would get that tattooed on them. Okay. Anyway, the Lord said to Moses, I will do the know you by name. Moses said, show me your glory, I pray. And he said, I will make all my goodness pass before, and I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. But he said, you, and the Lord continued, see, there is a place by me where you shall stand on the rock, and while my glory passes, I will cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back. But my Deborah and Rabbi, where it says you can't see his face, and then he sees God's.
He was a butler.
Also,
Oh my God.
The cross reference here is Elijah on the mountain, and that there's a still small voice. It's the same scene, same thing.
Oh. So let's see. I will come against Messiah. I will be gracious to you. Oh. I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious. Now here, this is a very, very good verse to show that the Bible does not have free will. Okay? Because he's telling you I want to, and I'm going to not. Show mercy to people I don't want to show mercy to. So, there you go. I'm going to over the years, I used to highlight things that I thought were pretty and made me feel things to be like, here's another stupid thing in the Bible. All right, we're going to go, we start 34. I'm going to do a quick commercial break, you guys. I have been live for an hour and a half now, and I am sitting at only 14,000. Those likes up to 25,000 in the next 20 minutes if we could. I'd really appreciate that. And please don't forget, I have a gift goal. Some people don't have it, but when I pin it, they get. I did the subscriptions and stuff, but can I do the pin now? And then, of course, I have a subscription goal. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe today. Because at 11 a.m., we're going through the Bible chapter by chapter. And then I also have Decon Q&A with CrystalJae. By the way, Deborah, Bert and I did a show before I ever did Decon Q&A. He was one of my first interviews for Rabbi Bert was my first just sit-down interview. So if you like Decon Q&A, according my 2 chapter 34. The Lord said to Moses, cut 2 tablets of stone like the former ones, and I be ready in the morning, and come up in the morning to Mount Sinai, and present yourself there to me on the top of the mountain. One be seen throughout all the mountain, and do not let flocks or herds graze in front of that mountain. So Moses came and went up on Mount Sinai as the Lord had commanded him, and he took in his hand the 2 tablets of stone. The Lord passed before him and proclaimed. Before I continue, so original 10 commandments, am I right?
Well, presumably the entire Torah.
Oh,
Yeah. Right?
right, but these are the real ones, right?
Yeah, well, so, like, the idea is, like, okay, I'm going to give you the, and then,
Okay, wait.
then
So
it's,
these are going to be the first 10 commandments for Christians, and then a second 10 commandments comes later. This is what I'm trying to do.
well, I think Christians are very confused about what the 10 Commandments are to begin with. So first of all, like, we're problem in the Torah. So, like, as far as, like, the 10 Commandments go, these are Medeka, you know?
Right.
Anyway, what I was
Asking if the first tablets that he broke were the ones with the original 10 commandments, and you said it's really like the whole Torah.
there's a midrash that basically says that, well, first of all, when we say the tree of life, we're saying that the tree of life is the Torah. Life to them that hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. And so you can then the cross-reference Genesis in the Garden of Eden, and that the tree of life was in the Garden of Eden, and that they weren't ready to eat from the tree of life. They weren't ready to. At Mount Sinai, they get the Torah, and they're still not ready because they are, like, as the text says, a stiff-necked people, right? Like a little, sort of like how you, like, take a little bit of poison, you know, just get used to it.
Alright, so the Lord, a God merciful and gracious, slow to anger, and abounding in steadfast love, forgiving iniquity and transgressions and sin, yet by no means clearing the guilty by visiting the iniquity of third and fourth generation. And Moses quickly bowed his head toward the earth and worshipped. He said, if now this, although this is a stiff-necked people, pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take us for your inheritance. When I think about these verses, is how it says, forgiving iniquity and transgressions and sins. He also will punish to the third and fourth generation. What happens when generations overlap? And then I did something wrong. You have to be steadfast in your love for me. You can't also then punish. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense to anybody? Okay, I'll take your silence to mean no. That did not, like, you can't, sometimes generations overlap. Okay. In chapter 34, he said, I hereby make a covenant before all your people. I will perform marvels such as have not been performed, shall see the work of the Lord, for it is an awesome thing that I will do with you.
Hello, it's you from Washington State.
Nice to meet you. Did you have a question?
I do sort of have a question. Are you?
I'm reading the NRSV.
Okay. James version, almost kind of close.
No, the NRSV is, I don't have the updated edition to the text, so, but the King James version is not a good translation, so we don't.
Okay, King David and Jonathan.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And can you kind of?
Well, right now, chapter by chapter, and we're in 34, and we're about to finish up today's Bible study. So we're not jumping around. Enough. I appreciate you. Have a good day. Okay. The covenant renew. He said, I hereby make a covenant before all what I command you today. See, I will drive out before you the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the inhabitants of the land to which you are going, or it will become a snare among you. You shall tear down their altar, shall worship to no other God, because the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. You shall not make yourselves to their gods and sacrifice to their gods. Someone among them will invite you, and you will eat of the sacrifice. And you prostitute themselves to their gods, will make your sons prostitute to themselves to their gods. Also, did you have something you wanted to add, Bert, or did you accidentally unmute? Unmuted. Okay. Yeah, he was getting some cookies. I want cookies now. Sad because Christians use these verses to go in to other countries and wipe them out, like so much history and art and culture. Any comments, questions, or anything on those verses?
When I was in my degree, it was a class called Natives of Alaska, and it was required for the bachelor's degree. And I tell you what experience that I've ever had, because, you know, being raised in non-denominational, you're like, oh, I don't see God. I took that class and I had a lot of apologizing to do. A lot of apologizing. And I feel like as instead of just kind of skip, like briskly kind of going over it in the text. like in the textbooks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say that it reminds me of Ezekiel 16, where he calls his people whores.
Absolutely.
Well, that's everywhere.
Well, true, but that specific chapter is.
And well, Ezekiel 23, if you really want to go extreme, that's like the extreme horror. They're called I can't remember what the daughters' names are, but it's supposed to be Judea and Israel. I mean, it's honestly, it reminds me of the song "Dynamo Hum" by Frank Zappa.
Okay. All right. Bread 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread as I commanded you at the time appointed in the month of Abib. For in the month of Abib you came, all your male livestock, the firstborn of cow and sheep, the firstborn of a donkey, you shall redeem with the lamb, or if you shall redeem. Now, I know a lot of times in debate lives, atheism is asking for sacrifice of your firstborns here. But the fact that he actually says you shall redeem me.
It's a financial thing. It's called Pidyon Haben. Redemption of the first son on behalf of your son. To say, look, I sacrifice, but it is to replace that, because obviously child sacrifice should not take place. But also, the reason that child sacrifice, I'm going to have a hard time explaining this, but basically, when you're watching children starve, the question is, do you just let them to have the unfortunate decision to make there is excruciating sacrifice, when in reality it's an act of mercy. And I don't think that any of us can even begin to a situation like that. And I'm not trying to justify it, but I am trying to say that a little sympathy goes a long way. And kind of rejection of this practice is by saying, look, we understand that like crops you have, clearly famine is a huge issue in the Bible. And by the way, whenever there's a famine in the land, it ends with babies. Through understanding of a connection between starvation and progeny and children. You are saying, look, I understand where this practice comes from, and I understand that as a collective, we all benefit from making these donations. I don't want to. Can you hear me, Crystal?
I can hear you.
I can hear you now.
I can hear.
My headphones. So by making this donation, you are acknowledging that while you can't control the wealth, help to, govern or distribute the wealth. And by the way, the statement about the breaking of the donkey's neck. Your donkey is your tractor, it is your Porsche, it is your, and so if you don't do this, you might as well break your donkey's neck, is what it's saying.
Um,
I've only seen a few episodes, actually.
the final episode is one of the most heart-wrenching episodes ever. In the very end, that even though the show was lighthearted many times, that they were average, and in one of the scenes, I don't remember why, but Alan Alda's character Hawkeye has, and they're hiding, and one woman is with her baby, and the baby is crying, so she smothers the baby. And in it, of course, everybody think of stories like this about what you're talking about during the famines and stuff. I think of that because somebody who does. Yeah, it's a heart-wrenching episode if you ever get a chance to watch. 6 days you shall work, but on the seventh day you shall rest. Oh wait, I don't know if I said no one shall. Okay, no one shall appear. The seventh day you shall rest, even in plowing time and in harvest time you shall rest. You shall observe the festival of weeks, the first fruit, the turn of the year. 3 times in the year all your meals shall appear before the Lord God, the God of Israel. For I will cover your land when you go up to appear before the Lord your God 3 times in the year.
By the way, Sukkot, or the festival of booths that you said, Pesach, which is Passover, the Paschal Lamb, Sunday night, Tuesday, and Sunday night, Monday, and Tuesday. Shavuot, which is the third pilgrimage festival, which is also the celebration of receiving the Torah.
So it's always weird to me, and always has been, that Christians don't know anything about it but through Jesus. And he never says he's doing away with festivals or anything like that. So why?
So
First what? Oh, first fruit?
the first fruit.
God almighty.
Did you not know that?
Look, even a broken clock is right twice a day, and it's almost like when Christianity is about to get it right, they move the clock hand.
This verse is a good verse that I like to go to. Like, Thinker will talk a lot about how Jesus really, because suddenly there were no more miracles. Yeah, Jesus did some, okay? I'm talking about things like store up all your treasures for heaven, like suffer here. You're gonna suffer. God is saying, nah, you worship me, and here on earth, I'm going to expand your borders. Jesus is all like, nah, we got you later. I'll write you a check.
Does it talk about the expansion? Yeah.
For I will cast out nations before you and enlarge your borders. No one
Yeah.
shall covet your land when you go up to appear before the Lord your God.
Another connection to Ezekiel, Deborah, I think I had already made, which is the notion that of this some assholes these days from Israel saying things like from the river to the sea, but they're not talking about the Jordan, they're talking about the Euphrates River to the Mediterranean Sea, as visaged by Ezekiel, which is to say greater Israel. So imagine from all the way, yeah, so in other words, Netanyahu needs to be stopped. I apologize, I'm not trying to bring in politics in this moment, but I think just to point out that this is
where they're getting this. Okay. You shall not
everybody
offer
always
the
taking
blood.
gas when I so single-minded these days. Yeah.
Very much. I really appreciate when you talk. Like, I learned so much from you. And you shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leaven, and the sacrifice of the festival of the Passover shall not be to the house of the Lord your God. You shall not boil a kid in its mother's milk. The Lord said to Moses, words, I have made a covenant with you and with Israel. He was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. He neither ate bread nor the 10 commandments. This is the 10 commandments. And yet for some reason, and I don't know why a lawyer hasn't fought that in court and said, wait a minute, if we're putting it, should be the 10 commandments. Because if I was a lawyer, I'd go fight that.
Wait, what are you making the distinctions?
Classrooms in the United States are love your God with all your heart, soul, that one. They're putting up the
Well, how did they pick between this, Exodus 20, and Deuteronomy?
Because Christians think that the Exodus 20 are the act. Nope, they're not doing it. They're going to put those up, and they don't even know these exist.
I'm going to Texas.
You know how many
I'll see you later.
people?
I gotta go.
God, it's just so dumb. All right, let's finish
Not their
this
fault, it's
chapter.
not their book.
Because they're stealing the book and trying to say there's any way. It is their fault. Stop stealing the book and changing it. The shining face of Moses. Chapter 34, verse 29. Moses came down from Mount Sinai. Moses did not know that the skin of his face shone because he had been talking with God. When Aaron and all the Israel were afraid to come near him, but Moses called to them, and Aaron and all the leaders of the congregation returned. Christ came near, and he gave them in commandment all that the Lord had spoken with him on Mount Sinai. But whenever Moses went in before the Lord to speak with him, he would take the veil off until he came out. And when he came out and told the Israel face of Moses that the skin of his face was shining, and Moses would put the veil on his face again until he went to speak with him.
What the original translation of that was? For the Hebrew is carne or, and probably say horns of light were emitting from Moses' face. And if you look up Michael, almost like, a pan horns coming out of his head. And this Semitic trope that Jews have horns.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a trope.
That's good. That's walked up to him, started putting his fingers in my dad's hair and say, "All right, show me where are the horns."
Oh, see this Michelangelo's Moses. Oh, yeah.
There they are.
See at the top of Moses' head there? Yeah, I will do that. Thank you. James, let's see. That was 34. We want to read like 34, 34. Shut up, you're just a little kid. You're just a little kid, Moses. You need to... Oh, wait. Wait. I want to read 34, 34, not all of it. Okay. But when, until he came out, and he came out and spake unto the children of Israel that which he was commanded, and the children of Israel saw the face of his face. That's not KJV, is it? I said KJV. How come it's not saying?
It sounds like where you just
Maybe
read.
it's not.
And I think it's a little bit before. It's as most.
Okay, let's see. Maybe this, because this is just online, like it might be like a newer version of the KJV or something.
The NKJV.
No. Well, I can't find it, but I do believe you, but that is, I didn't know about Michael. God, people...
When I wore mitful all the time, so I would wear scarves.
Wow! Do people just sit out there looking for a reason?
Yeah. I mean, if you're miserable and you need somebody to blame.
Yes, because I look for reasons to like people. Even when I don't like them, I go, give them a chance. Maybe you're not seeing the heart. There are some people I just don't like.
When you get angry and frustrated with people, it's like the most jarring, like the kindest, most wonderful person that I've like met on this app, and then when you get frustrated with people, it's like, oh, Crystal's also.
I was saying the other day, Justin came up on Joyful's Live and he was our co-host, and I was doing real good, Bert. I was really comes up and he goes, "Hi, fat face," and I don't know if he was talking to Joyful or myself, and I didn't care, and I immediately went. And then I was like, why did I have to do that in front of Justin? Why couldn't I have stayed calm, cool, and collected? Sometimes people just piss me off, you know? All right, you guys.
That's like a nice.
Way better than what I say to people, which is I'm not going to take homework from someone who looks like a thumb.
Oh my God, that's
All right, you guys, that's this week's non-believers Bible study. Let me look. While I'm looking at this, Rabbi Hannah, are you cool?
Really love to say yes. Unfortunately, my youngest daughter had is still healing, but she is autistic, and she already is, high support needs. And this illness made her where she needs me on social media very much, is because my wife and I have to be no farther than 3 feet away from her at all times. Otherwise,
Yeah.
so the only reason I get to be here at the moment is because she happens to be asleep right now. So she's starting to re-regulate. So at one point I was sleeping on the bathroom floor, just so that she had somebody next to her during her illness. So yeah, it gets pretty intense.
Migraines that make you throw up until you pass out.
Yep.
And that's the only way she would get any rest in the whole thing. And sometimes these went on for 72 hours straight.
Oh yeah.
And we had to be in complete dark and would sit there with her and the only time I could get out, even if she was asleep, if I got up and left for too long, she would break, and then I'd have to be back in there with her.
Yeah, my wife and I have
you?
been tagging in and out.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. What? Dad.
Oh yeah.
Dad's not
so
you,
sorry.
Mom. And so, and then, eventually she was like, and I'm like, oh, okay, no, but I'm just kidding. She's amazing, but yeah, she suffered really bad. I watched you play or listened to you playing your music the other day, and it was amazing.
I got so depressed on Sunday when you just sing Merle Haggard for 3 hours, and it helped. And it was nice to see some people come in, and a little bit. There were a couple times where people were having good conversations, and the host had to go. Actually, so this is something that I kind of came out of that. So I was playing the guitar, and then Cyber came in and he's like, "Is this a talent? Wouldn't it be great if there was a great?" I tried to run lives where it was
You cut out for a minute. Tell me your humble brag, I think is what I heard, but then now I can't hear.
I'll think about it, but if you're interested in that, maybe reach out to me, and I'd like to partner with you.
I think it'd be really cool if you did it.
Been hanging out with Tiny Science quite a bit, and Thrill and Think on their lives, and Lee is just so calm, cool, and collected. And really just puts up Bill. I really just appreciate the non-anxious asking why and really sticking to what the country needs these days, whether it's political beliefs or religious beliefs. People need to be able to deconstruct those things, and in a way that I just think people are clinging to these ideas that are frankly really just so unhealthy. That's my promotion, I guess, is you know,
Well,
ask why more often. Yeah.
Ab, if you will, often joins me. So make sure you follow both Rabbi Bert and myself. Also, you guys, while we finish up here, so help me reach my gift goal. We're less than 200 coins away from reaching my gift goal. I really appreciate why we finish up here.
Sunday.
All right. You guys, make sure you're following Deborah. And if you have not purchased Deborah's book yet, you're just what you're doing. You're just saying, I choose to be ignorant. No, go get her book. It is Crucifying the Bible by Deborah. Really highly recommend you get an actual physical copy, because the physical copy has tables and stuff in it, and so I did get it on Audible and regretted it immediately when I realized I didn't have all the tables and stuff. So, hey, are you doing lives now?
No, I've thought about it, but
Panelists, and we love ya. So if you guys aren't following AK, you should check her out when she goes live with Deborah, and also she's on set, regularly show up on.
Cyber Deconstruction, Deborah's, Christina's. I'm trying to think. I kind of hop around, yeah. So I'm like the rover, and then I mod for a lot of them.
And she's in Alaska, and you get to have this whole, like, it's like my favorite show this time. So make sure you check out AK and Helga. Okay. You guys, let me talk to you about my Tuesday. Tomorrow I am live at 4 p.m. Pacific time with Joyful. A lot of times we have a special guest. Last show we had Justin live with us. So make sure you're following Joyful Apostate Pacific time. Also, Saturday, June 7th, I'm going to be live at 1 p.m. This is going to be Dark Knight. If you're not following Dark Knight, it's DARKNYT. I love watching him. A lot of times you'll see people like Matt Luster, Christina Carroll, Rhea, and others up on. Let's see. Also Zena May. She goes up on there a lot. Okay. Then Sunday, June 8th, Q&A with CrystalJae at 11 a.m. So hopefully, like, basically right after Atheist by Sunday School, Atheist Sunday School on Saturday. If Betty said, although Betty has started to do more lives on his own, Benny, he's amazing. He has helped many creators with their YouTube channels, with modding. He's an amazing support, and it just doesn't feel right, even though they're not married. They're going to join me, and we're going to talk to them about their relationship. So please come join us after Atheist Sunday School on Sunday, June 8th. And you guys, just make sure you follow me. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. If you are here on TikTok and you have a YouTube, I am Crystal JAE on YouTube because I've tried so desperately to hit 500 people. I love you. Thank you for being here, Bert. I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the gifts, likes.
Before you go,
Sure.
do you think that I just feel like it would be so cool to do like a convention where all these people could come and like learn. One of my questions for Becky, I don't know if I'm able to
I got news for you. Hang on 1 second. Let me find it real quick.
I'm sorry if I'm distracted. I got a new puzzle and I'm just like in the zone putting it together.
Oh, that's Baja Con. Okay, I don't know what that stands for. But Baja Con is an atheist convention in Michigan. Sarah are going to be there. It's there's a channel in the Deconstruction junction right now, and there is that possibility. I've been looking at putting one together on the West Coast because everybody does them on the East Coast, and like Deborah's out here, I'm out here, Mezzo's out here.
West Coast, Best Coast.
That's right. Works for sure. Just not very far in the works yet. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, YouTube. Have a great day. Bye. Oh, should we read somebody? Oh, I said it too fast before I shut down all the way. Anybody up there? Live right now? Tell on here. 5 announcements. How about is
Friend is spread around so badly in the skits, so it's unreal. Because in real life, none of them would be my friend. Absolutely none of them.
Exactly.
Real talk.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm just saying, like, it's so many ways this whole thing could go.
It is. Yep.
Free in that situation, because now you can let this man play both of y'all all the while you're trying to get his heart, knowing what she just went through. Ain't nobody worth it.
And that's the part that I was talking about, perfume. I was so, I never get upset in this skit, but I was really pissed when I seen, how are you sitting here telling all these lies for your personal gain? You're acting like Amber clocked her the first time when she said, "Oh, you all glowy, friend." She sat right there in that chair. She couldn't come up with nothing else. She was like, "We're just friends." Girl, bye.
You